Assalamu alaikum, أ.فاطمة is speaking. I hope you are in good health. Today, inshallah, we'll discuss Edulingual method and reading approaches. There are many methods that is used by teachers to teach foreign language. One of them is Audiolingual method. In this part of lecture, inshallah, we'll discuss these outlines about Edulingual method, which are introduction, historical background, definition, characteristics of Edulingual method, definition, characteristics, principles, design, which include teacher's rule, students' rule, syllabus, activities, the instructional material, procedures of Edulingual method, advantages and disadvantages of Edulingual method. The Edulingual method is a method of foreign language teaching which emphasizes the teaching of listening and speaking before reading and writing. It uses dialogues as the main form of language presentation and drills as the main training techniques. Mother tongue is discouraged in the classroom. The Edulingual method advised that students should be taught a language directly without using the student's native language to explain new words or grammar in the target language. However, unlike the direct method, the Audiolingual method didn't focus on teaching vocabulary. Rather, the teacher drilled students in the use of grammar. So, the Edulingual method focuses on repetition drill. For the same reason, a strong focus on oral language was developed. At the same time, behaviorist psychologists such as Skinner were forming the belief that all behavior, including language, was learned through repetition. Historical background of Audiolingual method. The outbreak of the Second World War heightens the need for Americans to become orally proficient in the language of both their allies and enemies. The United States militaries provided language courses that focused on the oral skills. The Army specialized training program or the Army method. Audiolingual method has a strong theoretical base in linguistics and psychology. Charles Fries of University of Michigan led the way in applying principles from structural linguistics. For this reason, Audiolingual method has sometimes been referred to as Michigan method. Later in the development of Edulingual method, principles from behavioral psychology developed by Skinner were incorporated. So the Edulingual method is based on two main theories, structuralism and behaviorism. The first theory, which is structuralism, it is a new way of examining reality and language, arose in France. Structuralism asserts an overall unity and significance to every form of communication and social behavior. So in this theory, a language is a system of structural related elements like phonological units, grammatical units, lexical items for the transformation of meaning. So to learn the target language is to master the elements of the target language system. The second theory is behaviorist psychology. In this theory, a philosophy of psychology based on the proposition that all things which organisms do, including acting, thinking, and feeling, should be regarded as behaviors. Behaviorism regarded language learning as similar in principle to any other kind of learning. Behaviorism, like structural linguists, is an anti-mentalist, empirically based approach to the study of human behavior. So in this theory, psychology states that people are conditioned to learn many forms of behavior, including language, through the process of training or conditioning. Definition of Audiolingual method. What is the Audiolingual method? The Audiolingual method is a method for foreign language teaching, which emphasizes the teaching of listening and speaking before reading and writing. It uses dialogues as the main form of language presentation and drills as the main training techniques. Mother tongue is discouraged in the classroom. It's also called Army method. Characteristics of audiolingual method are speaking and listening competence preceded reading and writing competence. Students practice particular patterns of language through structured dialogue and drill until response is automatic. Structured patterns in language are taught using repetitive drills. The emphasis is on having students produce error-free utterances. Only everyday vocabulary and sentences are taught. Mother tongue is discouraged in the classroom. The three crucial elements in learning are stimuli, a response, and reinforcement. The principles of Edulingual method are instructions are given in the target language. The language forms occur within a context. Students' native language interferes as little as possible with the students' attempts to acquire the target language. Also, teaching is directed to provide the students with native speaker speaker like a model. Positive reinforcement helps the students to develop correct habits. Another principles of Edulingual methods are that the teacher is regarded as an orchestral leader, conducting, guiding, and controlling the students' behavior in the target language. Learning a foreign language is treated on par with the native language learning. The students are taken to be the imitator of the teacher's model or the tapes. The dialogue is the chief means of presenting vocabulary structures, and it is learned through repetition and imitation. In the another principles of this method are memorization and pattern skills. And patterns drills are the practice techniques that are emphasized. Listening and speaking are given priority in language teaching, and they precede reading and writing. Correct pronunciation, stress, and rhythm. Design of audiolingual method includes objectives, syllabus, activities, the learner rules, the teacher rules, and the rule of instructional materials. Objectives of audiolingual method, we have, there are two objectives in this method. The first objective is short-range objective. It includes the training in listening, comprehension, and accurate pronunciation. The second objective of audiolingual method is long-range objective, or the ultimate goal is to develop the students' abilities are the same like what native speakers have, to use it automatically without stopping to think. So the main objectives of audiolingual method are to enable the students to learn how to use English in everyday oral communication, to encourage the students to produce utterances with accurate pronunciation and grammar, to grow the students' ability to respond quickly and accurately in speech situations like the native speakers. The syllabus, the major objective of language teaching should be for students to acquire the structural patterns. Students will learn vocabulary afterward. In the early stages of the Edulingual method, the focus is on oral skills with gradual links to other skills. Reading and writing may be taught, but they are dependent on prior oral skills. The syllabus, Edulingualism is a linguistic or structure-based approach to language teaching. Linguistics syllabus contains the key items of phonology, morphology, and syntax of the language. Arranged according to their order presentation. The language skills are taught in the order of listening, speaking, reading, and writing. Listening is viewed largely as a training, but at more advanced levels, more complex reading and writing tasks may be introduced in this method. Okay, types of learning and teaching activities: dialogues used for repetition and memorization, correct pronunciation activities, okay, stress, rhythm, and intonation are emphasized. Drills, okay, a technique that focuses on a minimal number of language forms through some type of repetition. Types of drills we have: mechanical, okay, one has one correct response; meaningful, have a limited set of possible responses; okay, communicative, okay, open response, has okay open response. Drills and audiolingual method. Okay, we have okay many of activities and okay of drills, okay, like backward build up expansion drill. In this exercise, okay, this drill is used when a long line of a dialogue is giving students trouble. The teacher breaks down the line into several parts. The students repeat a part of the sentence, usually the last phrase of the line, then the following. The teachers cue the students. Yes, the students expand what they are repeating part by part until they are able to repeat the entire line. The teacher begins with the part at the end of the sentence and works backward from there to keep the intonation of the lines as natural as possible. This is also directs more student attention to the end of the sentence, where new information typically occurs. Yeah, in repetition drill, the use of drills and patterns practice are the distinctive features of the audiolingual method. These are some kind of drills often used in repetition. Yeah, in repetition drills, the students repeat an utterance aloud as soon as they have heard it. They do this without looking at a printed text. The utterance must be brief enough to returned by the ear. Sound is as important as form and order. Okay, examples. Okay, of repetition drill. For example, yes, teacher says, "I used to know him." Student says, "I used to know him." Teacher says, "I used to know him years ago." Students says, "I used to know him years ago when we were in school." Yes, substitution drills. One word in an utterance is replaced by another. For example, okay, he bought this house cheap. He bought it cheap. In this example, it referred to this house. This house, yes. Another example, they gave their boss a watch. They gave him a watch. Just okay, this is to use the appropriate pronouns substituted, okay, the noun in this sentence. Yes. Transformation drill. Okay, in this activity, a sentence is transformed by being made negative or interrogative or through changes in tense, mood, voice, aspect, or modality. For example, he knows my address. He doesn't know my address. Does he know my address? Yes. He used to know my address. If he had known my address. This is the transformation, okay, drill. Yes, a chain drill. In the chain, okay, a chain drill. The chain drill gets its name from the chain of conversation that forms around the room as the students, one by one, ask and answer questions of each other. The teacher begins the chain by greeting a particular student or asking him a question. That student responds, then turns to the student sitting next to him. The first student greets or asks a question of the second student, and the chain continues. A chain drill allows some control-led communication, even though it is limited. A chain drill also gives the teacher an opportunity to check each student's speech. For example, student 1, where is the cat? Student 2, the cat is under the table. Student 2, where is the cat? Student 3, the cat is under the table. Grammar game. Games like the supermarket, alphabet game described in the Edulingual method. The games are designed to get students to practice a grammar point within a context. The students are able to express themselves, although it is rather limited in this game. Notice there is also a lot of repetition in this game. Question and answer drill. This drill gives the students practice with answering questions. The students should answer the teacher's questions very quickly. It is also possible for the teacher to cue the students to ask questions as well. This gives the students practice with the question pattern. If I ask you, what are the goals of teachers who use the Edulingual method? The goals of teachers, in this method is teachers want their students to be able to use the target language communicatively. In order to do this, they believe students need to overlearn the target language to learn to use it automatically without stopping to think. Their students achieve this by forming new habits in the target language and overcoming the old habits of their native language. Another question, what is the role of teacher? Yes. The teacher is like an orchestra leader directing and controlling the language behavior of their students. Teachers are responsible for providing their students with a good model for imitation. So, teacher roles are central and active, monitors and correct the learner's performance. What is the role of a student? Students are imitators of the teacher's model or the aspects she supplies of model speakers. They follow the teacher's directions and respond as accurately and as rapidly as possible. So, students are the imitators of the teacher's model. Teaching focuses on external manifestation of learning rather than on the internal process. Play a reactive role by responding to stimuli. They aren't encouraged to initiate interaction. Also, they must overcome the habits of their native language. What is the nature of student-teacher interaction, and what is the nature of student-student interaction? There is a student-to-student interaction in chain drills or when students take different roles in dialogues, but this interaction is teacher-directed. So, most of the interaction is between teacher and the students and initiated by the teacher. Yes. Edulingual method materials include textbooks, tapes, visuals, such as films and pictures, reala, which mean authentic objects, and if possible, language labs make perfect material. If I ask you, what is the role of instructional material in Edulingual method? The role of instructional materials, in this method, instructional materials in the Edulingual method assist the teacher to develop language mastery in the learner. A student's textbook is often not used. Tape recorders and audiovisual equipment often have central roles in an Edulingual course, provides accurate models for dialogues and drills. Evaluation, in this method, it is discrete point in nature, that is, each question would focus on only one point of the language at a time. For example, students might be asked to supply an appropriate verb form in a sentence. Procedures, according to Brooks, the procedures of this method are as the following: the teacher's modeling, the subordination of the mother tongue to the second language, the training of the ear and tongue, the learning of phonological and grammatical structures through the use of drills and patterns practice, the study of vocabulary only in context, practice in the use of language only in the speaker-hearer situation, practice in translation only as a literary exercise. Here, okay, the following procedures would be observed in a typical Edulingual lesson. Students first hear a model dialogue, then they repeat in each line. The teacher monitors and corrects the learner's performance. Correction of mistakes is directed and immediate. Gradually, the dialogue is memorized, okay, line by line. The dialogue is adapted to the student's interest or situation. Specific grammatical patterns in the dialogue are selected and become the focus of various kinds of drill and pattern practice exercises. The students may refer to their textbook, and activities based on the dialogue may be introduced. A language laboratory may also be considered essential by providing the opportunity for further drill work. Yes. Advantages of the audiolingual method. In terms of the advantages of audiolingual method, there are many benefits brought about by audiolingualism in comparison with the grammar translation method and direct method. The audiolingual method is said to be the best approach for beginning level foreign classes. It aims at developing listening and speaking skills, which constitutes a step away from the grammar translation method. It paved the way for the development of communicative language, of language teaching, which has been seen as a response to the Edulingual method. It popularized the use of visual aids. Another advantages of this approach: all students active in the classroom, the state of the class more interesting and lively, speaking and listening skills are better trained. Disadvantages of the audiolingual method. The main disadvantages of this method are teachers are seemingly not explained in detail, grammar skill untrained. There is very little attention is paid to communication and content. No creativity. Students repeat and memorize what they don't understand. The techniques used by Edulingual method become tedious and boring, causing and fatigue. Make advanced students poor. Many students in the class. Yes. The second method that we'll discuss in this lecture is reading method. The outlines that we'll discuss inshallah related to reading method are introduction, history of reading method, definition, approaches to teach reading. We have three approaches to teach reading, which are language experience approach, phonics approach, and sight word approach. Reading approach is one of methods that can be used by teacher. It is one of way that will help students to solve their problem in reading. A reading approach, students will improve their knowledge and get something new because they are demanded to read more. By reading, students will know about the kinds of tenses and how to use it. They also will know about the difference of culture by reading cross-cultural understanding, and they will learn how to pronounce the words correctly. In reading paragraph, many things that will be achieved by students and they can master English well. So because of the importance of reading that have already mentioned before, teachers should teach and emphasize the students to read effectively by using reading approach. Yes. A brief history of reading approach. reading approach, okay, was first devised for English learners in India and French learners in the United States of America who have not mastered the oral use of language. Yes. What is the goal of reading approach? Definition of reading approach. A global, a global reading approach assumes that a person learns to read best when reading begins with natural and meaningful text. A global approach to reading is an approach that begins by giving learners natural, meaningful text to listen to, look at, and memorize by sight. Okay, what are the approaches, okay, of teaching reading or to teach reading? Yes, we have three approaches to teach reading, which are language experience approach, phonics approach, and sight word approach. Language experience approach is suitable for all levels of learners by using the language experience approach to teach beginning readers how to read. Students can connect their life experiences with learning written words. The unique factor about this approach is that the students' own words are recorded or used as they describe the event or activity. This allows them to interact with the text and gain knowledge and understanding through their experience. The language experience approach can be used with individual students or a group. While it is most commonly used with young emerging readers, it is also effective for teaching struggling readers. What is language experience approach? Definition, okay, of this approach. It is an approach to reading in which the child's own language and experiences is used to create reading material. Okay, in this approach, students dictate a story based on an experience they have had. The teacher writes the dictated story. Through discussion, the teacher can help students organize and reflect on their experiences. Advantages of language experience approach. It integrates the four language processes. It is child-centered, which brings a new reader to the text rather than the other way around. Aids comprehension, okay, of language experience approach. Yes, the reader and composer are one and the same person. The child understands that text carries meaning. It is enjoyable and allows the child and the children and their lives to become known. Highly motivating, incorporates emotion and fun. It can be used to develop sight vocabulary and comprehension via cloze exercises. How to conduct, okay, a language experience approach in a class. Here we have, okay, some of the procedures, okay, about this approach. For discussion, this might be based on a previous field trip as a story that was read to the class, a video or some other experiences shared by the class. Write down the little on large lined chart paper with a marker. Yes, after that, okay, encourage careful observations. Okay, extend oral language relating to the students and thoughts and observations. Okay, encourage students to listen and respond to their peers. Okay, as the discussion occurs, write down students' statements on chart paper, repeating what you write in. Yes, the process and making note of the speaker's name. Make sure the students attend to this process. Read, okay, what you have written. The whole class reads what you have written. After that reading, okay, using a pointer to indicate the words as yes. After that, follow-up activities, and the last procedure is develop basic skills through word banks. Yes. The phonics, okay, approach. Phonics approach, okay, definition of phonics approach. Phonics is a method for teaching, reading, and writing the English language by developing learners' phonemic awareness, the ability to hear, identify, and manipulate phonemes in order to teach the correspondence between these sounds and the spelling patterns, graphemes that represent them. Phonemes mean sounds, graphemes mean letters. Okay, in this approach, okay, phonics approach teaches the relation of the letters, graphemes to the sounds, phonemes they represent. The theory behind the phonics approach is based on two assumptions. Most languages have consistent phonemes, sound, to grapheme, letter correlation. When children have learned the relationship of the letters to the sounds, they can pronounce printed words by blending the sounds together. Knowing these relationships help early readers recognize familiar words accurately and automatically decode new words. Yes, utilizes explicit teacher-directed instruction to introduce skills and strategies. Okay, it provides distributed practice and cumulative review. It emphasizes to reinforce phonic elements or linguistic patterns, tightly controlled vocabulary, and are used primarily for struggling readers. Selections are unnatural, so it is difficult to use context clues. Yes, so الphonic method has proven to be useful in teaching reading skills to students from preschool through early elementary school, or as a particular way to introduce English to foreign speakers. Phonics works by breaking English words in smaller components and basic sounds. These letters and letter groupings are then applied to make words until the student can comprehend the phrases, sentences, and longer works. The phonics method involves the relation between the speech sound and its written form. Yes, the goals of phonics approach are increasing students' phonemic awareness, strengthen letter sound association, increase decoding skills for single syllabus and multi-syllabic words, increasing instant recognition of high-frequency words, improving spelling of single syllable and multi-syllabic words, promoting passage reading fluency and related comprehension. Okay, what is sight word approach? This is the third approach of reading method. In a sight word approach, new words are learned by sight memory as the learner sees them written and with picture cues. Yes, a sight word approach to reading is an approach that uses the word as the basic unit of language. Sight words are words that are recognized instantly and without any analysis. Yeah, many sight words can't be sounded out because they don't follow decoding rules. Sight words are high-frequency words, the words most frequently occurring in reading materials. Why do you, okay, just if I ask you, why do we teach sight words? Why do we teach, okay, this approach? Okay, sight words. Students who learn sight words have a good base for beginning reading instruction. When do we teach sight words? Sight word instruction usually begins in kindergarten and continues into primary and secondary schools. Although struggling readers continue learning sight words beyond secondary school. Is here, okay, so a sight word is a word whose spelling is not straightforward and therefore doesn't enable a learning reader to determine what spoken word it represents just by sounding it out according to the rules. Learning readers recognize sight words from having memorized them or by drawing their meaning from context. Yes, here, okay, we have a comparison among the three approaches of reading, which are language experience, phonics, and sight words according to the definition, target group, characteristics, activities, okay, that use in these approaches. Yes, okay, definition, language experience. In the language experience, the child's own language and experiences is used to create reading material. In phonic approach, teaches the relation of the letters, graphemes to the sounds, phonemes they represent. Sight words, okay, in the sight words that are recognized instantly and without any analysis. Target group, okay, in language experience approach, okay, depends in individual pupils, group, struggling readers, but in phonic approach, young learner, initial stage of developing reading, adult learner, lack of reading proficiency. Okay, in the sight words approach, the target group is struggling readers. Characteristics of these approaches, language, okay, experience, okay, approach, develops fuller knowledge of verbs, contractions, and pronunciation. Characteristics of phonics approach is helping early readers recognize familiar words accurately and automatically decode new words. It can pronounce printed words by blending the sounds together. Characteristics of sight word approach, okay, it is high frequency words. It can't be sounded out. Don't follow decoding rules. It is a good base for beginning reading instruction. The activities, the types of activities for each of these approaches. Language, okay, the activities of language experience, word or letter, picture, phonics, video, phonic stories, listening, activity, sight words, antonyms, synonyms, homophones, etc. Yes, activities for language, okay, experience, okay, approach, word or letter, hands. Yeah, teacher prepare, okay, in this activity, teacher prepare word or letter and sound that they would like the students to recognize. Teachers, okay, then ask the students to find it in other chart story. Then students will circle, box and underline or etc. on the words, letters that are the same. In the activity, okay, of picture match, a few sentence strips, okay, pasted on the board. Teachers will prepare a few pictures and distribute it to the students. Then the students need to match between the picture that already distributed with the sentence strips pasted on the board. They will be asked to read aloud the sentences. Okay, activities, okay, for sight word approach, use the poems and lessons. We are opposites pyramid. In this activity, use the poems and lessons, okay, to integrate aims to integrate, okay, language skills, the antonyms, the synonyms, the homophones, parts of speech, same double consonant words, word family words, beginning sounds, and vowel sound. The benefits of this approach: easy to use lessons, okay, so minimal preparation, few outside resources required. Sight words are identified in bold-face type in poems, enjoyable hands-on activities. Okay, another benefit of this approach is versatility of use. How? It can be used to introduce, practice, review, and assess. It can be used for the whole class or small group instruction. We are opposites. In this activity, we are opposites, and I'll tell you more. For example, I say after and you say before. Another example, I think it's hot. You think it's cold. I say it's new. You say it's old. Yes? So we are opposites. It's like I said before, think if you're on, if you want any more. Yes. In opposites pyramid activity, the main objective of this activity is to identify and read the antonym of a given sight word. Activities for phonics approach are songs and chants, blending phonics stories, design. Yes, just in a brief, let's to say that reading is a vital to people's lives. That's why as teachers we should do our best in providing appropriate approaches that will suit the needs of our students. Teaching them how to read is like giving them the opportunity to be someone, okay, to be wise, okay, reader. Design, okay, in this approach includes objectives, syllabus activities, the learner rules, the teacher rules, and the rule of instructional material. Yes, objectives, okay, of reading approach. The students are able to identify meaning rather than letters or words. The students are able to understand and read the text quickly. They are able to read actively. The syllabus, okay, in this approach, the syllabus based on the development of reading skill, how to make students have the ability to comprehend what they read. A teacher's rule, yes, teacher's rule, okay, in this, okay, approach, teacher should create situation in which learner in which learners are most suggestible, and then to present linguistic material in a way most likely to encourage positive reception and retention by learners. So the teacher is motivating learners, encouraging to set reading strategies, and supporting the students to develop reading comprehension. Okay, learner rules, okay, are recognizing the script of a language, translating the text, deducing the meaning of unfamiliar lexical items, and understanding explicitly stated information. The rule of instructional materials are to get meaning from whole chunks of text and to have good vocabulary and integrate naturally with other classwork. Procedures, okay, of reading method. The students or readers decode each word in a text and automatically comprehend the meaning of the words as they do with their everyday spoken language. There are specific comprehension strategies that some teachers are now using in the classroom. The first procedure, okay, of this method is that the teacher teaches students about prior knowledge. Prior knowledge is using what you already know to help understand something new, to help students comprehend and learn from a specific reading material. They can access their prior knowledge on a subject to help them relate to the subject they are learning at the moment. The second procedure is making a connection, is when a student can relate a passage to an experience, another book, or other facts about the world. Yes. In this procedure, making connections will help students understand what the author's purpose is and what the story is about. The teacher can use connections with any fiction or non-fiction text that the students read. The third procedure is questioning. And yes, questioning is another strategy that will greatly benefit, okay, a student. There are several types of questions that a teacher should focus on: remembering, testing, understanding, application, or solving. Invite synthesis or creating and evaluation and judging. Teachers should model these types of questions through think aloud before, during, and after reading text. Okay. Also, visualization is when a student can create a picture or movie in their mind while reading text. Use terms like mental image and asking sensory questions will help students become better visualizers. Another way of looking at visualization is to think about bringing words to life. Summarizing, okay, is a comprehension strategy that also needs to be taught. Summarizing is telling what is important about the text. A summary might include the answers to who, what, where, when, why, and how. You can have students summarize any text that you are using, okay, in the classroom. Evaluation, okay, is about making judgments on what you read and then explaining why you made those judgments. Yes. Some activities to help with evaluating can be as easy as having a small group book talk or having students rate a book. Evaluating nonfiction text can be done by using a criteria checklist such as table of contents, index, titles, headings, etc. to help students rate a text. Yes, the last procedure of this method is synthesizing. Yes, synthesizing is putting the pieces together to see them in a new way. Students will take what they already know about a subject along with their reflections from the book to create their own interpretation and ideas about a certain text. Yes, the advantages of reading approach. There are some benefits, okay, in utilizing reading approach, which are reading approach can be used in a big class. Yes. In reading approach, students can know much vocabulary because they have to read the passage. Students focus on what they are studying because they only learn grammar. The reading method requires little teaching skill since the lesson form is a standardized and fixed procedure. The reading method is economical of time since the pupils all read simultaneously. The reading method doesn't demand deep knowledge of the language on the part of the teacher since the teacher doesn't have to compose the sentences and the questions. Yes, disadvantages of reading approach. Reading approach also has limitation since there is no single teaching method that is categorized as the best based on some considerations such as the curriculum, students' motivation, financial limitation, number of students, etc. So the main disadvantages of reading approach are as follow. Since reading approach is only focused on written skill, this approach is lack in speaking skill. Yes, reading approach is oppressive approach because the vocabularies and the grammar are controlled just to